Hello and welcome once again to the Golfing Greenkeeper podcast. I'm your host, Steve Smith. It's a walking the fairways kind of segment this time around. This is episode number 56. Hey, what did you think about that little tune? Hey, a big thanks to my brother Paul, who quickly knocked that up for me. Paul's a composer, does all sorts of different music, mostly classical type stuff. But I gave him a challenge, and I said, Paul, I need a little intro tune, something that I can call my own, and he came up with that. So I like it. It's going to be part of the podcast moving forward. Thanks to Paul for that one. I hope you liked it too. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a while since I've done a Walking the Fairways segment. There's plenty of news coming out from around the country, so we will kick things off and come with me as we walk the fairways and we just have a look around the country of Australia and see what's been going on. Going to start in my home state of New South Wales. Why not start there? It's just as good a place as any. Let's start off. Now we go straight down to the Murray River to Thaguna Golf Club down in Albury there on the Murray, which is the border between New South Wales and Victoria. And they have had some new bunkers being redone on holes 4 and 5, and they've been completed along with the completion of their new chipping green facility. Plenty of work happening down there at Thaguna, and the new bunkers on 4 and 5 look fantastic, look sensational. They've got a new bunker liner going in there, and the new chipping green it won't be too long before it's up and running actually, so the construction there is finished. It's all about growing time. It's going to be a little bit tough, as we know, through winter. Don't expect to see a lot happening, but I'm certain that come springtime, it won't be too long as the temperatures come back up that things will be ready and that chipping green facility will be open in full. Now we move into Sydney and we go to Sydney's North Shore to Pymble Golf Club. And they, back in April, like I said, it's been a little while since I've done this, so I'm going to try and get you up to date on as much as I can. Back in April, they had officially opened their 12th hole, the brand new 12th hole, as they continue to move through the new course works they're happening as they they're doing a full course rebuild. I think I've mentioned before, about 6 holes a year is the idea there. So the 12th hole has been officially opened. They've now started work on their 3rd hole, which again, like I said, is being fully redesigned. There's not going to be much of the golf course at Pymble that's not going to be improved. And so they're working through everything with these course works. So I'll keep you up to date as I hear about it. But there you go, more works being opened at Pymble Golf Club. Now we go to North Ryde, which is again just on the north side of Sydney there, and they have officially opened their new 18th green back in April, which was being rebuilt, the full new green complex there on the par 3 18th as you head back home down a little downhill hole to the clubhouse. Now, it's been a few months waiting for it to grow in, and it's finally here. So the 18th is open. Brand new complex, got some good little contours happening, a couple of new bunkers around the green space as well there in the final 18th green complex. So a good finishing hole, just been reworked, and we don't often see a par 3 to finish. Lots of people don't like it. I think I've mentioned this before. Lots of people struggle with par 3s to finish. They struggle with par 3s to start. I'm not sure the reason, but I know at North Ryde there, a social group has been standing around the clubhouse and watching the final groups come in on the 18th hole there, which is a great spectacle as far as I'm concerned. A little mid-length downhill par 3, which is now a fantastic 18th green complex. So good stuff there at North Ryde. Now we're going to go back to the country a little bit. We're going to go down to Gundagai Golf Club, which is located on the banks of the Murrumbidgee River in southern New South Wales, and they've approved the installation of a new full course irrigation system. Now, it's a big deal for any golf course, and definitely will be a big improvement for Gundagai. These things don't happen by chance. It's a big investment, and there's a lot going on in the decision-making process to get a new full course irrigation system installed. So Gundagai have given it the go-ahead. Now, they're in the group of a couple of clubs there in Gundagai, so there's a little bit more to it than just a golf club working on its own. They've got good backing, good financial backing there in the group. So look to see Gundagai improving. Good country golf course, like I said, on the banks of the Murrumbidgee, which is a major river system in New South Wales. And Gundagai is up sort of in the highlands as well, not too far on the western side or the northwestern side of the snowy mountains there of New South Wales. So good country golf course down by the river, and one that you will see improvements to over the coming years once that irrigation system has been fully completed and installed. Now we go to Kiama Golf Club, which is located south of Wollongong, south of Sydney there if you like. And they've recently received a new utility vehicle for the golf course team there and the staff out on the golf course. These vehicles are invaluable for the day-to-day running of a golf course and they're basically the workhorses of the fleet of machinery. It's very, very hard to do a great, efficient job maintaining a golf course if you don't have at least one reliable utility vehicle, and I can vouch for that through my days in the dark times at Katoomba, back in my early days when we didn't have anything. And I was running around with a greens mower as a utility vehicle, which, trust me, that was tough. But down at Kiama, great to see. So they're investing in their machinery. They're investing in the golf course maintenance and continue to do so there at Kiama, which is great to see. Very, very good things, even with just a utility vehicle. And I say just a utility vehicle because a lot of you out there might not even realize that, it's something that's worth considering. It's something that you got to stay up to date with. But all the machinery and all the fleet and all that is a key part of the maintenance of a golf course. And Kiama are doing that to continue to make sure and ensure that their golf course can be maintained in a great way moving forward. So well done to Kiama for investing in their machinery. Now we head west. Way out west on the central western slopes and plains, we're going to go to Wellington Golf Club in the central west, which is on the way to Dubbo, if you're not too sure whereabouts that is. And they've recently taken delivery of a multi-deck pull-behind rotary mower. Now, this type of machine is towed behind a tractor to mow large areas of turf, like fairways and roughs, for example. Goodness knows there's plenty of bloody rough at Wellington after the rain in that region that they've received lately. A lot, and it's a big golf course. I've played Wellington a few times. Great golf course, but it's a very, very, like a lot of country golf courses, it's a big tract of land, and they've got plenty of grass to cut with all the rain that they've recently received. So it's a good thing that a golf course like this has been able to, again, invest in the machinery where they can. Wellington's not a big club. It's not the size of a town of Orange or Dubbo either, is Wellington itself. So it's good that they're able to invest in something to continue to make sure that they can maintain their golf course. And like I said, it's a big golf course. So a pull-behind rotary mower, look, it's probably not something you'll often hear about on a golf course, but it can be considered an economical purchase for smaller regional clubs. And it's great to see the improvements coming to Wellington Golf Club. So a good thing happening there with the purchase of that rotary pull-behind. Now, you might recall that I had previously, well, when I say previously, a few months ago now, I'd interviewed a bloke by the name of Nathan Bradbury, Superintendent of Eastlake Golf Club in Sydney. Well, Nathan has since recently resigned from that position to take on a role, and I'm going to call it over on the dark side, as you might have heard me recently in some conversations talk about. Now, that's when golf course superintendents, greenkeepers head over to the service industry, basically working as representatives for companies and businesses that service the greenkeeping industry. That's what Nathan is now doing. He's moved across, and he will be servicing the industry as a supplier, as a representative for a supplier company. Now, I've got to say, congratulations to Nathan for all the work he has achieved with the team at Eastlake over the years and the accolades that he has won along the way during his time at Eastlake as superintendent. Now, those of you working on courses in New South Wales may now see Nathan, like I mentioned, calling into your shed. So don't be shy. Say g'day. Nathan is a great bloke. And if you haven't listened to it, go back to one of my previous episodes of Keeper of the Greens and you'll hear my conversation with Nathan Bradbury. And he's a great guy. You'll certainly enjoy seeing and catching up with him when he drops into your shed. Now, there has just been an announcement that Simon Blagg, the assistant superintendent from the Lakes Golf Club in Sydney, which is literally on the western side of the lake from Eastlake Golf Club, hence the name Eastlake, Simon has been selected as the new superintendent of Eastlake Golf Club. So congratulations to Simon, and what a great place to take on the role of superintendent. So good to see. You're going to see Eastlake continue to improve, and we know Simon's background, having worked over at the Lakes, look, We know that's one of the great golf courses in Australia, certainly in Sydney, and some of that knowledge that Simon's learned over there will be coming across to Eastlake as well. So we look forward to seeing Eastlake continue to improve, and congratulations to Simon on his new post. Now I'm gonna say something here that, look, to be honest, I wasn't sure I wanted to bring up. It's a sad note, but I was floored when I heard this news. In the past few months, we've very sadly lost 2 people in our industry that worked on golf courses in Sydney to mental health. Quite a number of people I know knew these guys also. They leave behind their families, and it must be extremely devastating for those families. I can't even begin to comprehend what their respective families must be going through. I just can't. I don't have words. Now, my phone rang quite a bit after this extremely sad news was being heard in our industry about these 2 guys, and I was having a conversation with one guy I know, and we were talking about how our industry hears about mental health problems from time to time, like many industries, no doubt. And the thing we said to each other was, we must do better as an industry. This was just a conversation after hearing this devastating news, that we must do better as an industry and talk about it more and support people better. And if we don't talk about it, in inverted commas, being depression and mental health concerns, we continue to dismiss that there are many people dealing with their own mental health concerns, and these people can be our colleagues and friends at work. It's a fact that greenkeeping is made up by mostly males. And as males, we don't talk about that kind of stuff to people, to anyone, in fact. It's a stuff that we as blokes are bigger than. We think we are. We can't be seen to be weak and have things going on in our heads that we can't deal with. We can't sort out our own shit, right? That's the way we often think. So we bottle it up. Say we're fine, nothing's wrong. Keep on pretending that it's fine when it's not really. And you know it's not within yourself. Things add up, things get worse, and ultimately we get worse. Sometimes a lot worse. And we find ways to try and push it down even further. Maybe drinking a little bit more from time to time to try and forget about those thoughts. Or we just start getting more distant from people that we're close to. It's not all good, in inverted commas, if you're not feeling okay about yourself. You need to talk to someone. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Sometimes it's a chat to a friend. Other times it might need to be something more. Maybe even talking to a doctor. And that's okay. I promise you that's okay. There's nothing weak or wrong about having to talk to a doctor about your mental health concerns. Just the same as if we have a physical health concern, we go and consult and talk to a doctor. And don't Dr. Google this stuff. I mean, talk to a real human doctor. If you find a lump or something, you get worried, you go and see a doctor. If you haven't been feeling like your usual self, been thinking differently about things, same, go and see a doctor. If you're not okay, it might be time to chat to someone about it. And on the back of this very, very sad news for these 2 guys that had their lives ahead of them, absolutely, they had families. It was, I couldn't not mention that it had happened. I didn't know how to bring it up either, but I felt that we need to talk more about it. We need to look out for each other better. And don't forget that you can contact places like the Black Dog Institute, Lifeline, or Beyond Blue, as they always hear in all the news stories. We've all heard them all. Do that if you're worried about you or someone you know. But we need to be looking out for each other more. And I've got to say that the news that I'd heard and that many of us heard here in Sydney was absolutely devastating. And my heart goes out to their families. I'll move on from that sad news and I want to go to the ACT and go to Federal Golf Club with Superintendent Peter Dunn and his team, and they've been busy rebuilding their practice bunker. Again, the new bunker lining product is going in with new sand, great improvements for their members and their guests to practice on. This is great stuff that's happening down and around a lot of golf courses, but obviously down at Federal with this new work that's happening. And it's great to see these bunker lining products go in. Great improvements to drainage, modern technology, modern ways of doing things. You're going to see long-term improvements and better maintenance being able to be undertaken, and a better lifespan of bunkers before they need more work for maintenance. So good stuff happening there at Federal Golf Club. Now, at Royal Canberra Golf Club, they've upped the ante with their course presentation, and they've recently received delivery of 3 new fairway mowers. Look to see the finer quality improvements if you play at Royal Canberra with these additions to their fleet. Anyone who knows when you get new machinery, certainly new cutting machinery like these fairway mowers down at Royal Canberra, you're going to see the fairway presentation improve, better quality of cut. The machines do things more efficiently as well, easier to maintain for the staff and the mechanics, so better reliability. All good things happening at Royal Canberra with the new fairway mowers there as well. So good stuff, a little bit of news happening out of the ACT. Now go to Victoria. We're going to go a bit of regional stuff with Victoria first. Going to go to Maffra Golf Club. And it's a regional Victorian golf club, like I mentioned, located at the town of Maffra, which I'd never heard of, which is near the town of Sale, which I have been through. So I kind of know where that is. And if you're not sure, it's around 3 hours east of Melbourne. That's out towards the Lakes Entranceway. Now, they've recently had the bunkers of their 12th hole rebuilt with the new bunker liner product, drainage, and bunker sand installed in them. So great stuff happening for a regional golf club. And regional golf clubs are starting to see the benefits of improving their bunkers with these new bunker lining products. And it's great to see this happening at Maffra Golf Club. So again, bunker line, and there's plenty of different bunker lining products out there, guys. It's about investigating and find out which one is the right one for you based on price, based on quality of product, all those different things. You do your research, do your due diligence as you do as a club, and certainly the green staff do their stuff as well. But good to see a regional golf course doing these improvements to their bunkers. And we move on. We go to the new short course. Go to the Sandbelt. Go to the new short course at Kingston Heath. And it is moving along very well with plenty of work being done on the construction during the past couple of months. Now, it's been talked about that the sand should be in the bunkers of this new short course about now, and even some grass might even be going down already. But I'm yet to confirm that little detail, but that was the idea. That was a bit of the game plan as they were talking about it, that by now come sort of early June, that we're starting to see all the sand get in, like brought into the bunker spaces that are being built. It's all shaped up. That's the good stuff. All the courses roughed out, shaped up. There's check out my socials because I'm going to put a video up. I'm going to share a video that OCM put up, who are the architecture firm behind the design for this short course, and Mike Cocking. And I'm going to show you. So go over there and have a look at the socials because you're going to see this little short course, and it looks fantastic. Little 9-hole short course. Looks fantastic. Now, for me, the early pick of my favourite holes are going to be 6 and 7. Great bunker shapes, great use of natural vegetation around the green complexes with shot options to get you to the flag. And these 2 holes in particular for me just look awesome. Awesome. Keep an eye on this because this could well be the new yardstick for short courses once it's open for play. That's my early prediction. This course, along with Kingston Heath in general, I mean, you know, there's a pretty solid standard to keep up with when you're designing some new parts to Kingston Heath. We know how good the golf course is, how good the architecture is, and look to put a short course in to basically to match that level. It's looking like OCM have done a great job in doing so. So keep an eye on that one. I reckon it's going to be a ripper. We move to Tassie. Hearing a little bit coming out of Tassie, away from the spectacular 7 Mile Beach course that's currently being built there, just near Hobart Airport. And I don't need to keep talking about 7 Mile. It just is insane. Like I said many times before, go to their socials, keep an eye on it. Matt Goggin, the man behind the project, and Clayton DeVries Pont are down there building the new design of the golf course. It's just the site. My God, it's incredible. Just go there. But stuff away from that, we go to Royal Hobart Golf Club. Over the past couple of months, they've been getting on top of some localised saturated areas of the golf course that have decayed due to waterlogging. So some of the grass is rotting. It's just too wet on their feet. in their roots, and there's no oxygen, and they're just starting to rot out. We haven't seen some of these weather conditions this long for a long period of time. I've been chatting with a few superintendents and greenkeepers around the place, and we reckon it's been the best part of 30 years since we've seen this continuous above-average rainfall for 3 years in a row at these levels. That we can think of to some of the people that I've been chatting to. So and some of these weather conditions have been happening down in Tassie as well. So Royal Hobart have been dealing with some of their problem areas. They've dug out and replaced the high organic matter content soil. They put sand down and fresh new turf on top to grow it in. This will improve these areas as they grow back to the expected levels of presentation that we've come to seeing at Royal Hobart. And come springtime, they'll obviously drain better. They'll have grown in by then, and it will be a great result after the heavy rains of the past season that some of those areas, like I mentioned in Tassie, have had. So good stuff to see happening at Royal Hobart. Now we go all the way over to WA. Lots of grass. We go to the new work that's being done at Links Kennedy Bay, and there is lots and lots of grass going down of the new Graham Marsh design over there at Links Kennedy Bay. The construction company doing the work is moving through very well, it would seem, and so much solid turf is going down. And when people say solid turf, for those of you that aren't sure, we're talking about rolls of turf instead of growing grass from seed. So it's basically, like rolls of turf you might buy from the landscape suppliers. This is en masse. Thousands and thousands of rolls of turf are going down at Links Kennedy Bay, and that just means that it's a faster establishment time. Now, there's also the eco bunker edging is looking fantastic on some of the bunkers that's being built over there at Kennedy Bay as well. So great stuff happening, and we're seeing over there in WA and Perth, and very good things with Kennedy Bay. Now we move into Adelaide, South Australia, and Royal Adelaide at the end of March, early April were re-levelling and resurfaced they re-levelled and resurfaced their third tee. All clubs move through these type of works, and a place like Royal Adelaide Golf Club is no different. The third tee is located just outside the clubhouse, but is on the other side of the railway tracks. That is a unique and mesmerising quirk of Royal Adelaide Golf Club you've heard me talk about before. And of course, it's of the third hole, the famous Alistair Mackenzie short par 4, arguably one of the best short par 4s in Australia, if not the world. That's the third tee that was being redone there at Royal Adelaide. And look, just have a look at Google Earth, Royal Adelaide Golf Club. And I did this the other day, again, because I love doing it. Royal Adelaide is just so good looking. If a golf course were to be considered sexy, it would be Royal Adelaide Golf Club. That's how good. Just go to Google Earth, Google Maps, whatever. Go to satellite view and just type in Royal Adelaide Golf Club and just check out how sexy it is. It's just that good. That's all I have to say. That's all I got to say. Now we go to Glenelg Golf Club, also in Adelaide, and they are moving very well through their course enhancement works, with the 13th hole getting the treatment of late. The course enhancement plan was prepared by Neil Crafter of Crafter of Mogford, working with Bob Toohey and Ryan Vanderveen. Now, the past 2 months has seen the 13th undergo some serious improvements, including new tees, new fairway irrigation, new fairway bunker, and new green and greenside bunker. Now, most of the work has been completed, and it's grass growing time on this hole. Lots of work going on here. And I'm here to tell you that Glenelg recently went up 2 positions in Australian Golf Digest Top 100 to number 35. And that's its highest ever ranking. Now, as these areas improve and mature over time, and the overall course enhancement plan is worked through, look to see Glenelg move further up that list ever so slightly as well. I mean, there's plenty of competition stacked above them, but I'm certain that this work will ensure that they continue to improve on that list. That's my early call. It looks fantastic. Reading about it, Crafter Mogford do great stuff, and the quality of the work under Superintendent Tim Warren and his team at Glenelg, look, it's just sensational stuff down there at Glenelg. So look to see Glenelg improve. And like I said, that's my early call, but this sort of stuff, it's just high quality, what's happening at Glenelg. The more I look into it, the better it looks, and I'm certain the better it played. Now, I haven't been there, but I'm looking into it, and I've got to tell you, I think this is the right move for Glenelg, and I think they're moving in the right direction. So great stuff to see. Now, Glenelg have also recently received delivery of a new spray rig for their golf course. That's a motorised utility type vehicle. that has a spray tank on the back with a boom spray setup. That's what they've recently received there at Glenelg. Now, a spray rig is a key piece of equipment for any golf course, and to take delivery of a new one means that the quality of the turf surfaces at Glenelg can be maintained and even improved, because there's always new technology in this type of equipment. That means jobs are done even better than they were before. So well done to Glenelg, again, continuing to invest in their fleet. They're clearly investing in their golf course. They're looking to improve. These are the sorts of things that golf courses and golf clubs need to keep doing. Otherwise, you fall backwards and go backwards really quick. And Glenelg, look, they want to stay on. They want to stay on top and keep moving further up that ladder. And whether it's Golf Digest, whether it's Golf Australia Mag, whether it's just your own list, Glenelg's one you need to get to, and it will keep improving. Now I'll go to Queensland. Caloundra Golf Club on the Sunshine Coast, and they've done some reshaping work to the back right bunker on the 10th hole and the front right greenside bunker on the 12th hole, including new drainage works. So look for those bunkers to have improved playability and maintenance when it comes to dealing with rainfall. And goodness knows they've had no bloody shortage of rain up there on the Sunshine Coast. Now go to Indooroopilly Golf Club in Brisbane, and it's on the banks of the Brisbane River in Brisbane City. And they are just about to start work on their green 9. That's what they call it. They've got 4 9-hole, basically 9 holes, 4 lots of 9 holes, 36-hole complex, and they're called all different colours. So the green 9 is being redesigned, which has been prepared by Perrott Web Design. Is the redesign works, and they're soon to start work. It's all systems go at Indooroopilly, with the grass all being sprayed out on those holes and killed off, and machinery starting to move in. And I'll endeavour to keep you up to date on that one and how that goes. And a quick thanks to Dean Hardman, the Assistant Superintendent there, for a bit of an update. That's what's happening at Indooroopilly. I'd heard that the construction job was awarded, and it's all systems go, like I said. So Indooroopilly are starting now the Perrott Web redesign of their 36-hole complex on the back of basically cleaning up after the floods there as well. So it's a very timely move, and one that we've heard has been talked about for a little while there at Indooroopilly. So they're ready to rock and roll. Now, Paul Mogford from Craft and Mogford Golf Course Architects has recently been to Brisbane Golf Club, where their new course enhancement plan is soon to get underway. Now, obviously, another premier club in Brisbane doing changes to their course, and we know what Craft and Mogford are capable of. This is one to keep an eye on up there in Brizzy as the course goes through some changes and improvements, which will be good to see. And a bit like Glenelg, Craft and Mogford are involved down there as well. So there's good design work done by those guys. We've seen they've done work at Metros. Look, they're all over the place. They're well known, and they do some great stuff. So Brisbane is next to do some work, and certainly around Brisbane City, another golf club doing so. Now, that's a quick wrap of the work on golf courses that's happening around the place, guys, around the country. But as I do from time to time, I want to talk a little bit about another topic. And for me, this is golf tournaments. Golf tournament news, which, it relates to the golf courses that are played on. So I'm interested. I'm interested to see what's going on, where things are going on, how these tournaments are being run, what format they're being played at. It's great to talk about and commentate about it. Now, it's finally been announced, and you would have heard this one, I'm sure. And if you haven't, here goes. The Australian Open is set to be on, and it's been approved to go ahead. It's been announced. It's going to be on later this year in 2022. It's going to be on from December 1 to December 4, and will be the Men's Open, the Women's Open, and the All Abilities Championships played on the same weekend under the same banner at both, it's gone back to the Sandbelt, at both Victoria Golf Club and Kingston Heath, to play as hosts to the event down there in Melbourne. Now, they state, this is Golf Australia, they state that Kingston Heath, now why 2 courses? It's because the fields are so big. They state that Kingston Heath and Victoria as well will play host for the first 2 rounds, but Victoria will be the primary host across all 4 days. Now, what that means, how it's going to unfold, I think they're going to play sort of like the men and women of Victoria 1, then they'll change over to Kingston Heath, alternating on the days or something along those lines for days 1 and 2. And then once they whittle down, they take the cut and so on, then they'll all come across to Victoria for the final 2 days to play out. That's my guess. I haven't seen it written as such, but that's what I'm thinking about how it's going to unfold. Now, I'm just saying that it's about time for this. It's about time for all the men and women to be combined under one banner. And like I mentioned, the All Abilities Championship as well, under the one banner of one event. It's about time. After seeing the Player Series events, the men's and women's Oz PGA being played up there at RQ earlier this year, I think it was, in lieu of last year. Geez, the dates are flying around in my head. It's pretty crazy. But it's good to finally see it. And I called it out. And was banging on last year after they axed the events that they should be bloody hosting the men's and women's together under the one banner. That's how they should run the Oz Open. Now, after my comments last year, I was phoned pretty swiftly by a media spokesperson from the Australian PGA. I'll name Jono Nash was his name. Called me up, and I see that he doesn't work for the PGA anymore, just quietly. He called me up, wasn't happy about it. If you want to stick it to me, guys, that's your call. But clearly, after I made my comments about running the two events under the one banner, I got a phone call, told that they weren't happy with my comments. They didn't agree with my comments, that they thought that, there's a lot more moving targets and a lot more moving parts and all sorts of things going on. That's why we can't just do it. Well, look, lo and behold, it's happening. Whatever, PGA. If you want to stick it to me, PGA, that's your call, like I said. And clearly it was your call. You made the phone call. Anyway, he was pissed at what I had to say and didn't agree with my comments, but now they're doing it anyway. And I should say, it's not like I was the only one saying it either. But whatever, PGA. Whatever, guys. There were plenty of people commentating about similar things. And we know it's been happening on other events. So all I'm saying is it's about time. Short version, great to see this announcement and very exciting for this year's event down on the Sandbelt. And one more point, and hopefully now things change, that it's a combined men's, women's and all abilities event. But I hope this doesn't fall into the same trap that it used to. I hear a lot of people saying that on the Sandbelt in Melbourne is where it belongs. It's where the Oz Open belongs. It belongs down there in Melbourne and the Sandbelt. I don't want to hear and I don't want to see this event fall into the trap that it had for the last umpteenth years in Sydney. Granted, it's been down the road from me. It's great every year the men's Open's been on. We've missed the women. They've been tied up in Adelaide. But for the men's event, I don't want to see this combined one fall into the trap that the men's has for the last 12 years or something in Sydney. I don't want to see that. People saying it belongs in Melbourne at the Sandbelt. And I'm going to call it out. It doesn't belong in Melbourne on the Sandbelt. It belongs everywhere across Australia. And that's a very political game between the states, I might add, which in itself, again, is shit. It's a power play as to who has it, how long they can host it for. Now, I know that the Oz Open events rely quite heavily on government sponsorship to happen, which in itself is a problem if you ask me, but it belongs across every state and territory in Australia, is my opinion. Golf Australia need to find a way out of these government sponsorship handcuffs and a way to keep the peace between all the states on our national Oz Opens. Or at least get a way so that it changes every year. It should, in my opinion, move around every year to a new venue in a new state to not only test the best golfers, but showcase our best courses. Don't tell me that we don't have enough golf courses for it. Bullshit, we don't. We do, thank you very much. And I'm sure the players would love the opportunity to play in different regions across Australia, and I've got no doubt that our clubs would love the opportunity to host our national event. And I know that there's new criteria for hosting these events these days. You've got to have a certain size practice range. You've got to be able to host a certain amount of car parking, etc., etc. Nevertheless, here's some courses that have hosted tournaments in the past that I'm sure could well do it again. Just to give you guys an idea, it doesn't just belong in Sydney. It doesn't just belong in Melbourne. Lake Carrinyup in WA, they've hosted the Oz Open 4 times in the past. Don't forget the Vines, for example. What about the Vines? They used to host the Heineken Classic and the Johnny Walker Classic, back in the 90s. They could host it again. What about Royal Adelaide or Kooyonga in South Australia and Adelaide? They've both hosted Australian Opens. What about Royal Queensland, RQ? Or let's not forget about the Grand on the Gold Coast, which hosted the Australian Open back in 2001. Royal Hobart in Tasmania, they did it for Tasmania back in 1971. What about Royal Canberra? That's hosted the Ladies Classic plenty of times and the Australian Women's Open. And of course, we know that there's no shortage of courses in Victoria and New South Wales to host. But why always in the same city? You know, they dance around 4 or 5 clubs in a rotation. Whoop-de-doo, still in the same city. Still similar style golf. Here's some info you might be surprised to hear. Do you remember what year it was the last time the Men's Australian Open was played outside Sydney? Was back in 2005 at Moona Links down on the Mornington Peninsula southeast of Melbourne. 2005. That means there's nearly a whole generation of golf fans out there that have never seen the Men's Australian Open played outside Sydney. That's a stitch up and a half. Like I said, it's down the road from me. Oh, that's great. But it's not great for golf. I don't believe it's great for golf fans. Since then, up until 2019, it's been in Sydney, like I mentioned. And past on the last 2 COVID years because it had been canned. And everyone talks about Royal Melbourne being the best golf course in Australia. Have a guess when the last time Royal Melbourne hosted the Australian Open. What do you reckon? Go on, say it out loud. What do you reckon? Well, we know it was before 2005, which was Moona, like I said. Would you say it was in the year 2000, for example, 5 years earlier? Nope. That was Kingston Heath. Let's go a bit earlier again. 1996? Nope. That was the Aussie in Sydney. I was there. That was the year I'm pretty sure Tiger played. That was the year I went and saw Tiger. That was in Sydney. What about 1993? Nope. That was Metropolitan in Melbourne on the Sandbelt. You got to go all the way back to 1991 when the last time Royal Melbourne hosted the Men's Australian Open, which is what many people consider to be the best golf course in Australia. It's the last time I held it. The Women's Open, the Women's Australian Open, at least had the right idea up until recently, where Adelaide and South Australia in Adelaide had stitched it up for 5 years. They were at Royal Adelaide, Kooyonga and the Grange for the last 5 years, rotating around those ones. Previous to that, though, they were at places like Royal Melbourne, Royal Canberra, Metropolitan, Victoria, Kingston Heath, Royal Sydney, Commonwealth, Yarra Yarra, Terry Hills in Sydney, Concord, and even Manly Golf Club in Sydney back in the late 1970s. At least they had half an idea of where to take it. I think this new version of the Australian Open, both men's and women's, this new combined version gives us hope. Gives all you golfers, golf fans and greenkeepers preparing courses, it gives you all hope. Wouldn't it be amazing if it moved around the country to all different states and truly became our national open golf tournament? I want to see more of our courses putting up a test to the best in our country and other players of the world that want to come and be challenged by our courses and our fields. That's what I want to see. That's what I say anyway. That's to me, that would be a true national Australian Open if we moved it around, not just within cities. And we know the Sandbelt's got great courses, incredible golf courses. We know that Sydney's got some of the most longest established golf courses, and they've got plenty of history. I think the Australian Golf Club in Sydney's hosted it 21 times, clear by a good handful over the next golf course that's had the most. I mean, it should move around the country. We've got some incredible golf courses to challenge the best all over Australia. And I don't think being stitched up in Sydney or the Sandbelt or the Mornington or Adelaide, as much as I love all those golf courses, I don't think that is the best way to have our national event moved around. I think it needs to move further around. We've got plenty of courses. We might even have some other ones that have since had some rework done. Some redesign work done. That's what I say. I want to know your thoughts. Have a think. Think about those things that I've talked about. Think about what you reckon should happen. Should it stay in Melbourne forever? That's where the home of golf now is. They've built Golf Australia's built their headquarters there at Sandy Links, across the road from Royal Melbourne. Is that where it should be? Should it just stay on the Sandbelt for the next 30 years? Or should it move around? Should it stay in Sydney? Should it go to the Gold Coast? Or Brisbane? Should it stay in Adelaide for 5 years again? Should we move it to Adelaide? The next 5 years it goes around 5 courses in Adelaide. I don't think so. But what do you reckon? Plenty of you out there listening, and I want you to have a think. That's what I reckon, guys. That's my wrap of Walking the Fairways. Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening once again and tuning into the Golf and Greenkeeper podcast. I hope you liked that episode of Walking the Fairways. Like I mentioned, it had been a while. A couple of extra little bits of topics and things with golf tournaments and so on. Please like, share, subscribe. I really do appreciate you all listening. I would also, if you could help me out, I would appreciate a review. For those of you listening on iTunes, where you can put the reviews down. You can't do it on Spotify, I don't think. I'm pretty sure, but iTunes has the ability for a review. So if you're listening through iTunes, I would really appreciate you putting down as many stars as you would like to give me. 5. That'd be great if you can. Like I said, please share it around. I appreciate you listening. Appreciate your support, all your wonderful comments. Chat with me on social media and the like. You can find me at the Golf and Greenkeeper on Instagram and Facebook. Mostly, I do use Instagram. That's my platform of choice. There's a little bit on Twitter as well, which I'm trying to improve on. But as always, until next time, and I've got Keeper of the Greens coming out later this week. I've got going into a new state there, guys. So stay tuned. Haven't been to this one for a while. I think you'll be very interested by this Colin Campbell Chemicals Keeper of the Greens coming out later this week on Thursday. As always, you hit them clean, we'll keep them green. Have yourselves a lovely week.